Hello, friends. I wanted to tell you a little bit about my favorite graphic. My name is Sarah Vanderwerf, and if you are watching this on YouTube, there's all kinds of information there to find me and find where I've written more about this graphic on my website. But let me get started. Take a look at this graphic, and I wanted to talk to you about why it's such a favorite of mine. I love this graphic so much that when I was in the classroom, I found this graphic in 2016. And when I found it, I laminated it and I put it around my neck. And I wore it around because I wanted people to ask me about it. My colleagues, my math teacher colleagues, loved it so much that they put it around their neck. And we started using it with our students. As math teachers, we had been reading the work of Jo Boaler and her growth mindset in her classroom. And we asked our students about this graphic using our favorite math routine, Notice Wonder. And we asked our students, what do you notice and what do you wonder? And what students noticed about it was, of course, maybe something you noticed right away, that there's tons of dots. There's lots and lots of dots. And I say to them, yes, there's 30,699 of those dots. They'll say there's purple and there's orange or there's gold dots. And then they say there's a big blob of purple and there's a curve. And math teachers, I've used this a lot recently with math teachers, and they're like, there's a parabola. And then they talk about a random line, or sometimes they'll say there's an obtuse angle there. And then they might mention that black circle that you can see in that big blob of purple. And then, math teachers might say there's a line that's tangent to it there. And they might say a whole lot of other things. But when you ask them what they wonder, they'll start to say, well, I wonder if this is a picture of a tongue and they've zoomed in and those are lots of taste buds. Or some math teachers sometimes will say, I see a protractor, an upside down protractor. And maybe they'll see, a lot of times I'll get this and they'll say, I think that white curve is the 3-point line. And I'll say, tell me more about that. And they'll say, this looks like the shot map in a basketball game. And in fact, it is. These are every one of those dots represents a shot Kobe Bryant took in his NBA career. The purple dots are all the shots that he made, and all the gold dots, Laker colors here, are all the shots that he missed. And he took in his 20-year NBA career 30,699 shots. Wow, that's a lot of shots. This graphic appeared on the front cover of the LA Times the day Kobe Bryant retired. And at the time, they were making arguments for whether Kobe was where he ranked in the greatest NBA players of all time. And so the article that went around along with this had all kinds of really cool statistics about Kobe. And this graphic is amazing and cool. You can hover over any of those dots and they'll tell you what that dot was from. For example, that obtuse angle that some people see is pointing at the last shot Kobe ever took in his career and whether he made it or didn't, and talking about all kinds of things about that. It's, if you can find it in the LA Times, in fact, I'll link to it in this blog post, you can unlayer the layers of these dots and see it by games, and you can see the different types of shots he took and so on. Well, we wore it around our neck. This is what it looked like worn around the lanyards on our necks because we started first using this with students, and we talked to them about, in math class, you're just not going to make, like, every day in math class is not going to be easy. You're not going to make all your math shots every day. And so, in fact, Kobe Bryant missed 55% of all his field goals, and you could be considered the greatest student of all times, even if every day it's not going to be easy. And we were trying to normalize the struggle of math that comes with, our goal was to make them also feel successful, but we also wanted to normalize the struggle that comes aligned with this. And it was successful with our students. Like, students would talk about having yellow dot days or yellow dot moments. And how could we turn those into purple dots? So they'd be like, oh my God, today was a purple dot day. I got it. I'm really excited. But of course, as teachers, we started thinking about, like, we got this wrong. We're putting this on the students first and asking them to normalize mistake making. But man, we as teachers, are we willing? We tend to, as teachers, have more of a fixed mindset about willing to make mistakes. So as teachers, we started using this picture differently. And we started looking at all the dots in this picture, the shots that Kobe had taken, all 30,699 of them. And one day I did some math, and I did some math related to teaching. And I thought about in my district, to be a full time teacher, I had to teach 180 school days a year. And I taught middle school and high school, and I taught 5 lessons a day to be full time. And if you think about a teacher being in the career for about 34 years, if you multiply all those numbers together, you get that a math teacher in a career will teach around 30,600 lessons. Look how close that number is to the number of shots that Kobe took. I could have multiplied this by 34 and a half years, and I'd be really close to that number. So we started using this graphic to think about, what if all these dots represented each lesson that I teach in my career as a teacher. And, I could be considered among the greatest math teachers of all time, and I might not get it right every single day. And so we started using this graphic to help us think about our own thing. We started talking to our leaders about this and saying, we don't always get this right. And we started normalizing amongst ourselves and giving ourselves the grace, because so many of us math teachers, we have pressure related to test scores, and, or we'd be trying something new and we just wouldn't get it right. And it doesn't go right all the time. So we started giving ourselves grace for just not, like, we're going to have some days that don't feel like we're at our best. But that doesn't mean we can't be great. And that doesn't mean that tomorrow there's not going to be a purple dot around the corner. And so one of the arguments at the time this graphic came out was, is Kobe Bryant one of the NBA's top players of all time? And one of the arguments that was made for him about being one of the greatest was his actually shot map that you see here, and that he was dangerous from all parts of the playing field, that he could successfully make shots all over the place. And if you look at a lot of NBA players and other basketball players, their shot map does not always look like this. Players tend to shoot from where they get the most success. And so a lot of shot maps will be more to the left or more to the right, or mostly in the inside and rarely outside, or vice versa. But Kobe was considered dangerous from all over the field, making him be in contention for one of the best players of all time. So we started as math teachers thinking about, what if we thought about all our 30,600 lessons that we're going to teach in a career? Where are we teaching from in our teaching field? Are we diversifying what research says is best practice for mathematics? Well, a lot of us tend to teach from where we were comfortable, and where we're comfortable from is what we were good at, and the way that we learned in math. For me, that was, let me do the math, we do it, you do it. And I got early in my career really good at that. Or maybe we're always teaching from this place of, hey, kids, just memorize. I'm going to tell you a set of procedures, just memorize that. And we get really comfortable with what's comfortable for us. And we never start looking at some of those parts of our game that need to be worked on if we're going to be considered amongst the best math teachers of all time. So I started using this graphic to really challenge myself. Where am I taking risk in my classroom so students are struggling? How am I going to get comfortable with? How am I going to be okay that to get purple dots in that area of the field, I might have to have 20 math lessons that are yellow dots in a row? Where am I going to start getting good at that part of my teaching game where I'm having students visualize the concepts before I give them the procedures of how those efficient algorithms or procedures that they need? Where am I incorporating movement into what I do? Much less, like, one that scared me towards the end of my career was that idea of having students with the vertical non-permanent surfaces standing all hour, even though there's research from Peter and others saying that our students are way more engaged when that happens. And when was I going to get serious about my teaching game of dismantling structures that I know in my school and advocating that we're disadvantaging some and they keep advantaging the same things? And there's many other things we could put on this playing field, but I put up this graphic for myself to challenge myself. I didn't even have any words with it, saying, Sarah Vanderwerf, where are you going to get better at your teaching job today? Where are you going to step out of your comfort zone and do what research says is best for students? And I had to start asking myself, was I willing to decenter my comfort? Because my comfort is to look good and feel good every day and to do what I think I'm successful at. so that I could do what research says was best for students? Or was I going to not be the greatest teacher of all the time and just be somewhat good and keep playing from one part of the field? I also use this graphic to hang by my desk to remind myself that change does not come without some gold dots. And that's going to be part, and I need to be okay with struggle in my teaching career. And I'm not going to get it right every time, and that's okay. Hey, leaders, if you're listening to me, I ask that you give your teachers the grace to go and do some things in their classroom, and it might not look pretty right away, and give them advice on what parts of it are working so they can grow and get better. Kobe always talked about going out in the morning and shooting 500 shots and then eating lunch and going back and shooting 500. He'd do that every single day. Our change, successful change, is going to come from teachers where we go out and do best practices in our classroom and given the grace to not get it right. So ultimately, I love this graphic for myself because it's where am I going to challenge myself as a teacher to diversify what I do in my classroom. And I'm hoping you'll join me in thinking about the memory of Kobe and his daughter and all the other people that died in that helicopter crash, and really use this graphic to remind yourself about the 30,600 lessons, 30,699 math lessons you will teach to students in your career and what you can do with them. Maybe you'll be like me and wear it around your neck so that you can have conversations with people about this. It's a great elevator message. Maybe you'll be like me and in any workspace I work in. I have this hanging by my desk. So you can read a lot more about this at my website, sarahvanderwerf.com, where I blogged about it, and you can download all the resources related to it. But until next time, hopefully you'll find me around Math Teacher social media at those places. So hello, everybody. My name's Sarah.